thing? Like, oh yeah, let's go.
Dobrodošli u novu epizodu Nugget Srbija. Ovo je epizoda u kojoj ćemo raditi onako jednu opširnu temu, najavu sezone 2020-2021. Harrison trenutno misli da ga trolujem, tek ćemo da vidimo šta se dešava.
Yes, I agree with all that. You're spot on. Spot on, Miroslav.
Dobroveče ukoliko nas gledate iz Srbije, ukoliko nas gledate iz Hrvatske, ukoliko nas gledate iz Slovenije, dobro jutro ukoliko nas gledate iz Kine ili iz Japana, dobar dan ako gledate iz Sjedinjenih Američkih Država. Znamo da imamo gledalce na svim meridijanima. Moje ime je Miroslav, javljam se iz Pančeva, odmah ispod mene je Milan koji se javlja iz Beograda, iz Sobre. Dobroveče, Milane.
Veliki pozdrav svima. Odmah
posle mene čuveni stand-up komičar i najdugovečniji navijač Nuggetsa na prostoru Balkana, Mislav Ćuk iz Slavonskog Broda. Dobroveče, Mici.
Dobroveče.
Odmah do njega je Voja Medić, naš dopisnik iz Sjedinjenih Američkih Država, iz Lincolna u Nebraski. Dobroveče, Vojo.
Dobroveče, ćao svima.
I naš peti član večeras je veoma dobro obavešteni novinar DNVR-a i izuzetan reporter Harrison Wind. Dobro večer.
That's me. That's me. I recognize that. What's going on, guys?
Sada ćemo preći na engleski da Harrisonu više ne bude neprijatno. Good evening, welcome. We'll be speaking in English for the rest of the show. Luckily for Harrison, because his Serbian sucks. I just checked it. It's not good enough, really. But okay, next
slow
time.
Slow and steady.
Yeah. So welcome to the new edition of Nugget Serbia. We are part of Nuggets Europe and Colorado Europe Network. We are presented by NBA 2K21, as you can see in this corner of the screen. And if we're talking about 2K21, the Nuggets roster over there is almost complete. We are still lacking Facundo Campazzo on the team, so I will try to pull some strings and bring.
Did you guys get a free copy of 2K21 with the sponsorship agreement? Did you all get the free copy?
That's classified.
I would hope so.
Okay. So our dear friend from DNVR Nuggets front office whisperer and great reporter Harrison Wind will be talking about the preseason moves, the projected depth chart, and takeaways from preseason games. Harrison, how are you doing? Are you ramping up for the start of the upcoming season?
Oh, I'm already in on-season mode, as we like to say. I'm already ramped up. I'm already going. That preseason game last night, that was such a fun game. It got my juices flowing. So I'm ready to go. I'm ready for this thing.
Yeah, like it was fun. It was. I'm hyped. I don't know. I'm just got off from work. I have no idea if my filter's going to be on. I have a lot of takes about Portland and Denver too. But so first, so our audience can know. If for some of them that don't know you, like, what was your journey to Denver as like a beat writer and insider, and then what's your favorite job about favorite thing about your job at this point, like not just talking about Nuggets, just in general.
Yeah, so I'm from Colorado originally. I'm from Boulder, which is about 45 minutes west of Denver, pushed up against the mountains. And I went to high school there, went to college there, moved down to Denver after I graduated school. And, covering the Nuggets is always something I wanted to. I just always wanted to work in basketball, work around the game. Obviously, I didn't come close to being able to play the game at the highest level, so I just wanted to be around it. And writing was always just something I gravitated to, so it was a natural fit. And, I've been around the team for the last, I don't even know, 4 years or so.
You didn't have to move. You didn't even have to move. You're just there in the neighborhood.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, if I could pick any team to cover in the NBA, it would be the Nuggets. I don't know if you could find a more interesting team, just considering the story of the franchise over the last like decade and the player. Like I always say this, every player on the Nuggets, you could write like a whole book about. Every player on the Nuggets is so interesting, from their background to just what kind of person they are to obviously their games. Everybody is so damn interesting on this team. It's one of my favorite parts about it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
That's
how can you not be? We got. I mean, Mislav is lagging, man. Like, okay, I'm taking over. I'm taking over.
Your turn. Wait, I have a question for her. Off the script. So Boulder is like, first time I heard it, it was in The Office. Did you watch The Office?
Yes.
Do you remember who is from Boulder?
Well, doesn't Michael Scott move to Boulder?
Yeah. But also, Toby Flenderson's brother is in Boulder. I know he warned Michael, like, you can meet my brother Rory Flenderson in Boulder. So,
the people in Boulder, not anything close to a Toby Flenderson category of person.
But did you meet Michael Scott?
Oh, but come on, man. Let's keep
okay. Following the script. Okay, hello. Let's do the off-season.
I want to talk about the Nuggets, man. Come on.
How would you grade the first part of the off-season moves, the draft?
The draft was interesting because I definitely did not see them adding 2 rookies and 2 first-round picks and 2 guys who were as young as Zeke Naji and RJ Hampton are. Just speaking about those 2 guys, I didn't see them adding 2 guys of that profile to like a Western Conference Finals team that didn't have much playing time up for grabs. But I really like both players, to be quite honest. I know Zeke is a guy that the Nuggets didn't think was going to be there at 22. They thought somebody else was going to grab him a couple spots ahead of them. And I don't know about you guys, but from watching him in these first couple preseason games, I've come away super impressed. The guy looks a lot closer to being ready than a lot of typical one-and-done prospects are. And I just really like his potential shooting ability, how he moves his feet on defense, his IQ, just how he fits into things. It seems like he's got a very mature game for being so young. And then the RJ Hampton pick I really like as well, because that pick is just all about upside. And I thought Hampton had, one of the top upsides in the draft out of like the top 5 picks. Like if you were going to get a guy in the late lottery, in the middle of the first round, who had the most upside, that might be Hampton. And I know the Nuggets think that way as well. He's going to be a little bit of a project, but I just think it's a classic Tim Connelly selection. And just from talking to people in the front office, talking to people who have scouted him, I'm going to put my trust in the Nuggets and Tim Connelly on that one. If they really liked him enough to trade back into the first round to get him, I'm going to trust him on that.
Yeah, I mean, and Zeke Naji talked about, like, that's what I was going to ask you, seeing these last couple of preseason games, that he impressed. And the thing is, like you said, it's a one-and-done guy. And then when he got drafted, like I watched the guys, draft show, and everyone was like, not really like, oh, who did we draft? But it was like, why did we draft him so early? And it turns out like he's one of them already 19-year-olds in the draft, and coming in, and like I don't know, I just fell in love with the jump shot. I'm like I always gravitate towards shooters, but man, that smooth jumper, like as a center, is just it's gonna be a cool thing, and as a backup, who knows, not a starter, but like maybe a backup in a few years, just a one off the bench, like it'd be cool. What do you think about? Compared to like an RJ in the first preseason, like what did you see from them in the games, like not just like as a prospects thing?
Yeah, well, like I was saying with Zeke, he just knew where to be. It didn't seem like the game was too fast for him, which it is for a lot of rookies, especially when they were drafted like 2 weeks ago. It's the crazy part about this season. But it didn't seem like the game was too fast for him. It seemed like he knew what was going on. He knew the players. He knew where to go. He was making good rotations on defense. So I was impressed with Najee. Hampton's way more raw. He's just, got a much further ways to go in terms of playing like rotation minutes. You can tell he's kind of nervous out there. He's jumping around, doesn't really know what to do. I forget who it was. I think it was Jamal Murray who said a couple days ago that RJ's like jumping around like a jackrabbit in practice. He's cutting when he needs to, when he doesn't need to. He's just always trying to move and do something. So the game's got to slow down for him. But I think he's got so much upside. And you know how we talk about the brightest timeline over at DNVR, him slotting in at the 2 next to, you know, a Jamal Murray, MPJ, Bull, and Nikola Jokic. Like, just that being on the table is super exciting.
Yeah. Talking about
what do you think? What do you think? Can the Nuggets have a first NBA all-rookie team? Because we have like 3 new rookies, then we have Facundo, then we have Bol. We can go for all first 5 spots.
Yeah, seriously.
Like 5 rookies, something like that, right?
Yeah.
Who is the rookie? It's Hartenstein is not the rookie.
No.
And
I believe the Nuggets have 6 rookies on their team. 6 rookies, I think.
7 new guys, but we
6
have
rookies.
Five rookies, because Hartenstein is not a rookie, and you have the Jermichael Green, who's not a rookie.
Greg Whittington is he a rookie?
5 rookies.
Is Greg Whittington a rookie?
I think so too.
Yeah, Whittington, Facu. Well, Bull is also technically a rookie too.
Yeah,
that's right. Oh yeah,
so
that's
6. Yeah,
so that would be 6, even though he played a little last year.
That is insane.
I'm sad that it didn't happen. The Rob Perez prognosis about Bol winning the Finals MVP in the bubble and then winning the Rookie of the Year for this season. That would be amazing.
Well, if he could get on the court, it seems like he's buried in the bench right now. It doesn't seem like he's close to being in the rotation based on these first 2 games.
Okay,
he might be in a doghouse.
Yeah, probably. I'm going to ask you. I'm going to ask you about what was the most intriguing move the Nuggets made regarding free agents. We had a lot of discussion about Campazzo here, and he's fit on the team this year.
It's got to be him, right?
Yeah,
it's Campazzo for sure. And I probably think that Jermichael Green is the one newcomer who's going to play the most. Him and Hartenstein might even outplay Facu per like a minute on a minutes basis. But I mean, it's Campazzo, man. Like, the guy is incredible. The guy is incredible. I mean, he doesn't even play regular rotation minutes in this second preseason game. Checks into the game in the 4th quarter and just automatically makes like 3 elite high level passes in a row, and then has that open court pass that he puts the backspin on. That was a thing of beauty.
Steal,
yeah.
Also, great defensive position 3 times. I think 2 on 3 times. He's a great defensive position. So he was great.
Yeah, his defense it's so just intense and in your face, and he's just flying around. I love the guy. I can see why the Nuggets were so hyped to get him.
Yeah, do you think you said with the rotation, like I didn't want to be right. We talked about his signing here, and I was not hoping, but like I suspected that he might be a 3rd string point guard on the team. Like, even now with PJ, luckily is a 3, so he's not battling with him, but. It was just strange, like, seeing him as 11th player, because that rotation, that game seemed like a regular season game from both teams. Like, they were all, tight rotations. Like, I wasn't expecting Jokic and Murray to play as much, through 3 quarters as they were. This was like a blowout in a regular season that the bench guys come in at the end and clean up. Do you think there's a route for him to go in as a backup, or it's more like depending on a matchup and just put him in as like a jitterbug in sometimes to just spark up the offense? Like,
yeah, it's tough for me to envision him just being totally out of the rotation. Like, just based on how the Nuggets have talked about him, how Michael Malone has talked about him, I just have a hard time envisioning him not playing. So I think he's going to get in there, but like you said, Voya, last night seemed like the Nuggets were trying to hammer out what their opening night rotation could look like. And the fact that PJ Dozier played so well last night and went 3 of 6 from 3. He's probably got to be in there. So, yeah, I think he's on the outside looking in on like a 10-man rotation, but maybe the Nuggets play 11 guys.
I mean,
like maybe they just look to get Facu in there every now and then. And then, maybe there's a trade in the early part of the season or midway through the season that opens up some more minutes for him. But I think he's not in the top 10, but I still think he's going to play.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, it's strange not to coming in as essentially a veteran from Europe. Like, it would suck to not see that guy in the regular season play.
Yeah, and his release clause from Real Madrid is almost as big as his contract in Denver. So
I think he's losing money to play there in Denver. Yeah,
not really losing, but playing basically for free.
Yeah,
for 2 years. Playing basically for free. So I'm guessing they're giving him some kind of percentage from the uniforms that they will sell with his name and shoes or whatever, because there have to be some other way of earning money for him.
I think he got
the release clause is huge.
50% of the tickets sold.
That went really, really dark, really fast.
50% is zero, still zero.
Yeah, we already got to see the first 2 preseason games, and the first one against Golden State was, a bit rough, I would say. Well, maybe not rough, but you see that Denver didn't try to win that game. They were just trying several different scenarios, several different lineups. Of course, they had some guy called Jokic putting 26, 10, and 5 in 15 minutes, something like that. But the rest of the squad was just getting warmer for what's coming. But then in the match against Portland, we had a 30-point blowout, and we didn't have a 10-man rotation. We had a 15-man rotation because in first 3 quarters and 3 minutes we've seen, like Voya said, the proper 10-man rotation. And then those last 9 minutes had a 5 of Facu and PJ Dozier and Bol and Vlatko and Ziknaji. And they were amazing. I loved how they played. Of course, that has nothing to do with what the Nuggets will be playing when the season starts. But can you tell me, are there any real takeaways from these 2 games that we can firmly grab onto and say, okay, now we know this and that?
So one of my big takes coming into the season is that this could be the best offense the Nuggets have ever had under Michael Malone. And that's like a pretty high bar because they've been really, really good on offense before. If you think back to 2016, 17, and even over the last couple of years, they've been really good offensively, but they've just never had this amount of talent when kind of factoring in the ascension we all think Michael Porter Jr. can make this year. And the ball handlers, too. A Facu, a healthy Will Barton, Monte Morris, Jamal Murray. They've just never had this amount of offensive talent and playmaking around Nikola Jokic, I think. And I just think it could result in a lot of nights like we saw last night. I know it was just a preseason game. I know it was against Portland, who's probably going to be really bad defensively again this season. But I just think this team has such a high offensive ceiling where we're going to see a lot of 120, 130-point nights. And a lot of times it probably will come pretty easy, which is the scary part. And, I don't know how that's going to sit with Michael Malone as the season goes along. I feel like there's potential for there to be like a reckoning with him at some point where he's like, okay, we got to start playing defense. Like right now, we got to switch things up. Especially if, they don't come out of the gates hot and are just all offense. But I just think this team's going to be unbelievable offensively, and they're going to fly up and down the floor. The second unit especially has played with a ton of pace in these first 2 games too, and they've just, played super fast. I think that's going to be a key for them and something that's definitely going to carry over to the season. But offensively, the ceiling is so high with this team.
Yeah, so I mean, with that, like I kind of I'm glad that you're like on that on that hype train with the offense, because from what we saw, it was crazy what we saw yesterday. Just as how fluid it was, and Jamal and Jokic just were like whatever they wanted to do, they did. I will say, like, Portland did make us look really good. Like, they're really not like they're a little bit overrated. The thing is, like, I have a little like it's not a tangent, it's like kind of anecdote of how I saw this team, like with his first 2 preseason games, with especially with Jamal and Jokic. So when I was playing, like, we had this one league that was like really like the best in Serbia, and like Micic played in that one, and a lot of like players they're like pros. And so we my friends and I were like 10 years together, and we all played in the same team, really small, and it was hard to get in. And so there was this one team that we were always like clashing with, and we were so close. Like, we got like through an overtime game, we qualified for this big league. So that one season we play with the big boys, like, don't even win anything. But we play with the great competition. The next year we meet the same team from previous year. We destroy them. It was like by 25, 30 points, just by experience, and like, we got better by being in better competition. So I do think, like, does that for me, that's how it looks like the Jokic and Jamal and a lot of these guys they went through the ringer with 1-3 in the playoffs, and played the good Clippers team, like, strong individual talents. They even got through with the Lakers and battled. So this year it seems like they left a lot of these teams behind, like Portland, how they left Minnesota that one year when Minnesota was the 8th seed, like hopefully Utah, like some of these teams, like it almost feels like it's just the Lakers. And now, I mean, I guess with the players still the Clippers, Nuggets shouldn't be looking backwards and like feeling disrespected, because I think they know how good they are. Like, do you think that's the case? Like, I don't know if you see it the same way as I do. I mean, all of you guys, like, it just seems like by that experience, they're so much better, even though they like got the rookies this year. Like,
yeah, I think about it in terms of Jamal Murray. Like, he saw every single pick and roll coverage, every advanced defensive scheme possible, like drawn up in the playoffs against him throughout the Jazz series, the Clippers series, and the Lakers series. And comparing the level of defense he was going against in the playoffs to what he's going to face this regular season, it's like night and day. So I just think the regular season is going to be easy for him, compared to what he saw in the playoffs and how much teams were scheming against him and all the coverages and defensive schemes that were designed to limit him. The regular season defense is just dumbed down across the board. There's just not nearly as much game planning and scheming that goes into a regular season game. So I think for that reason, what Jokic and Murray saw in the playoffs, they're going to cruise. Like, they're going to cruise in the regular season.
Yeah, that was my thought. I mean, like, my thought is as well. So, like,
yeah, but they do need to build up their defense during the regular season, so they will be prepared for the playoffs. Because there is this crazy statistic that in the last 20 years, there were only 2 champions that didn't have the top 10 defense in the league that particular season. One of them is 2001 Lakers, and they had Kobe Bryant and fucking Shaquille O'Neal, and the other guys were Golden State Warriors with Durant and Curry and Draymond Green and Thompson. So and they were like 12, so it's not too far away from top 10. So I believe Coach Malone when he says if we don't play defense, we won't get too far away in the playoffs. But yeah, let's just use first 40 games and just win every game by 20.
Yeah, I'd be down for that. So that kind of brings us. You talked about the depth chart, like with the 11, 10, going to 10, 11 guys, and it's an open question of who's gonna be played and all that. The main one is main couple ones that I've seen from the comments that I want to like kind of bring up is that with so many interesting guards. So Nicola said with so many interesting guards on the roster, what would be your best pairing in the backcourt? Except like Murray and Harris like excluded. So like there would be the obvious one, but for you, most intriguing one, and then the back part of the depth chart question, the more serious one is. And that was from our viewer Pedro too, is like what's the biggest question about Barton, and we can jump into that, a little bit of discussion, because that was like a news that we weren't planning on covering, that he said he wanted to be a starter. So the first thing is, a little more fun, playful question of what would be the two most intriguing guard pairings with Jokic, and then the second one was, what about Barton?
First one that comes to mind is Campasso and Jamal Murray. And I love that pairing for a couple of reasons. First off, the Nuggets are going to play Jamal Murray off the ball a lot more this season, partly because they just have a lot more point guards. They have Campasso, they have Dozier. Also, I think it's going to help conserve Jamal's energy just throughout the regular season too, not giving him the burden of bringing the ball up every time down the floor. And if you just put Campasso on the floor with him, I mean, you can get out in the open court. You can, run Jamal off whatever amount of screens or pin downs you want to. And Campasso's going to find him and keep the ball moving. So that pairing, I think, would be absolutely elite offensively.
That's that Adams Lonzo ball, like with smart player next to Jokic that keeps the ball moving, but better than Lonzo.
He'll be shooting free throws more than 50%.
Yeah, definitely. So then the second question is the elephant in the room. It kind of sucks because I think everyone thought yesterday, was like, oh my God, that second, from game 1 to game 2, the difference between two lineups in the second unit was Barton was in there, and oh my God, like that looked amazing. Just it looked like the first unit didn't even lose a step. Like they were just trampling teams. They would trample teams with that second unit, and then Barton comes out and says, "I'm a starter. I don't want to be a sixth man." I think we're graduated from this is a fun team that everyone needs to everyone earns it, but it's not all about let's make everyone happy. Like, do you think Malone is going to be like, hey, it is the best for the team, or is there some kind of there's going to be a trouble there, and Tim Connelly would have to trade him, unfortunately, in the midseason?
Yeah, honestly, I think there's potential for it to cause some tension. I really do. And look, I wasn't surprised that Barton said that last night. He's been asked about being a starter. Like, it feels like at every Zoom conference that he's done. And it's kind of like beating a dead horse. I mean, if I'm being honest, like, we know he wants to be a starter. He said this before. It doesn't seem like he's changing his opinion. So, I wasn't totally surprised by it. Michael Malone's in a pickle here, because my read on it is who he brings off the bench between Gary Harris and Will Barton, and it's probably likely to be Barton, I would say. That guy's going to be upset. I just think that's how it's going to be. And they can either just accept it and kind of buy into the message of sacrifice that Michael Malone's been trying to spread throughout training camp here and there, or they can ask for a trade. I don't know which way it's going to go. I think it could go either way, to be honest. But I think there could definitely be some tension there. Yeah.
And it sucks that, like, a lot of guys, like, it's always, and if people want to listen a little bit more, like Locked On Nuggets did a really good episode today, and Matt Moore, like, kind of addressed, and he was a guest on this show previously, so like people can check that out too. It was great. And he kind of gave a good explanation of why it's not just, oh, he should be just happy to be on a good team and play and, like, everything for the team, because there's a lot of outside factors. Unfortunately, it's not just kids playing games anymore. You have the financial aspects, the reputation, with his big contracts and everything like that, and obviously then egos come into play too. Like, you feel like you earned it for all your life, then this feels like a downgrade. But from my perspective too, is like, everyone talks about, oh, winning is the most important thing. Well, sometimes to win, you have to do some uncomfortable things that you might not agree 100% with. And in this case, like, hopefully Barton realizes, if he rewatches that game and realizes, oh my God, like, we can be ridiculous this year if I just bite the bullet and play. And it's a hard question. I wouldn't want to be in Malone's shoes, at this point, for sure.
Barton is in his contract year, so it's not completely, crazy to hear things he's saying right now, because if he has a great season, he can just reject that player option he has, and himself.
Maybe he, like a big maybe he can get a bigger offensive role in, let's say, Detroit Pistons.
Yeah, our friend Ivan Kuštra, Detroit fan from Creation Podcast.
I think,
but then Jeremy Grant wouldn't be the #1 option anymore.
Oh my God!
Who will throw all those air balls now?
It's like one ring to bound them all. It's like one team to bound them all. So everyone has to go to Pistons, you know?
The Nuggets Avengers. The Nuggets dropouts are forming their own team.
The dropouts, yeah.
Hey, I wanted to ask you, Harrison. So a lot of people were thinking about MPJ, like he can be like a poor man's KD or something like that, some big star comparisons. But I had like a shattering moment of realization when I thought like MPJ is just like he's a prime J.R. Smith in his Nuggets years, like. He is a wild factor. He's the wild card X factor. Like he can hit craziest shots when you don't expect him, and he can do the dumbest mistake when you need to count on him. And that's totally J.R. Smith. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. Like I like it. Like, I think that's maybe even something better that Nuggets need than, let's say, to have a third star at the small forward position. So, what's your take on this? Do you agree with me?
I think there's something there. Where MPJ is right now. He is kind of like the wild card, and the biggest storyline for me over these 72 games is can him, Nikola, and Jamal get on the same page. And like, good thing they have 72 games to do it, because we haven't really seen it through 2 preseason games.
Yeah.
I don't feel like those three have, really found that cohesion, that chemistry yet. And that's okay, because look, I didn't expect them to find it this quickly. But yeah, the Nuggets have 72 games to find it. Right now, it definitely seems like it's Nikola and Jamal over here, and it's MPJ over here.
Let's call him MPJR.
Okay, here's a good question from the audience too. Is it mostly, like we talked about the defense, and it's the looming question with Grant gone and Torrey Craig, which I'll say, like you guys talk about it too, is like Craig, as much as he's known as a great defender, I would still, and like Milan is gonna back me up here because he's a big fan of PJ Dozier.
Yep.
I think PJ can fill that Torrey Craig role to like 100% better. I don't know if that's just these like last couple of games, but if we talk about a big dude, lanky dude that can guard, bigger guards. And Torrey Craig, you guys talked about it so many times. Like he had issues with the same size dudes. He would guard the smaller guards better, and I think PJ can actually like outsmart a lot of these bigger players. So the main question is who's going to guard defensively, who's going to fill that role of guarding LeBron, Kawhi, and Durant. And you give your answer, and I have an opinion about that too, right, later. And all of us should pitch in.
Man, well, when it comes to, I guess, LeBron, I don't think JaMychal Green is the worst matchup in the world on a LeBron. I don't think he's the best matchup, but I don't think he's the worst one either. When it comes to like a Kawhi, a Durant, more of a 3, I mean, Will Barton, who actually had some better defensive moments last year than he gets credit for. I think PJ Dozier is their best option on a lot of those guys. Greg Whittington, who I've had a couple players tell me has been impressive in camp, although we haven't seen him in the preseason yet. What people don't realize about Greg Whittington is he's like 2 inches taller than Torrey Craig. So he's taller, he's longer. I don't think he's like an all NBA type defender, but I think he'll be a above average defender. And here's a crazy one. I don't know if this will happen. I don't predict it to happen, but how Zeke Naji has moved his feet on the perimeter and played defense off the ball, I think he can be a defensive weapon. I don't know if Denver would try it this season. I don't even know if I would try it, but
it's too big of a risk.
I think there's some potential there for him, to guard the right type of guy. I'm not saying it's any of these guys like a Kawhi or a Durant. I'm not saying that, but I think there's potential there for him to be a defensive factor.
I have a theory about PJ because I think relieving Torrey Craig mean that they really relying much on PJ, and they will have bigger minutes. And my opinion is that PJ is much better player than Torrey Craig, both defensively and offensively. Especially after last night's game, he was great, man. He was so good in offense last night.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I'd agree.
Yeah, it's crazy to like you think about the Nuggets as an organization too. Like we don't have a G League and everything, but they still develop players great. And then it's a lot of these guys like as Isaiah Hartenstein and Whittington. A lot of these players come to Denver because it's all obvious at this point that like they know how to fit players in their roles and how to get the best of like so much of the NBA is like you're always afraid as a young guy that doesn't have minutes to lose any chance that you have just by making one mistake. And then PJ jumped from like 5 teams. He was like traded, cut, and then he lands in Denver, and you're like, why is this guy not played before? Like he's so good. Thing is, like people didn't know how to use him and how to like probably communicate with him. And Malone is so good at it has that merit-based system of like you're going to earn your minutes and one little by little, and then he finishes a playoff game and then sets so many gets charges on LeBron and like outsmarts these players. And then you come into this year and he's more secure. He has a contract. Like that's I think how Denver builds those teams, and that's how. Even though everyone is still slacking on them and like, oh, they lost all these players that, Jeremy Grant and whatever, they're still putting them in like 4 or 5 in the West, even though they're proven that they're developing well. And as far as KD, LeBron, and Kawhi, it's hard to guard them anyway. I don't know if we're even going to if there is a stopper of them. Like you can't just bring some elite defender from the history of the NBA and be like, hey, stop this dude from not scoring 20 to 35 on you. Just sleepwalking. So at this point, I think Denver, we saw with the Lakers, they were hanging. It just needed some more offense, and I think they addressed that better than just trying to have 5 lockdown defenders, because that's not going to stop them. Like KD's not going to be stopped, and LeBron's not going to be stopped by a lockdown defender, no matter who it is.
Absolutely, Denver didn't have enough firepower against the Lakers. Actually, the defense was pretty good. They had problems with offensive bounce. They had problems with transition. But other than that, Denver played a really good defense against the Lakers. They just didn't have enough that can score 20 points every night in order to win against the Lakers.
The Nuggets front office is like they are total gold diggers. They are digging in the dirt and finding golden nuggets all around. Like we are building like the whole division. Like in Utah, we have Gobert and Mitchell. In Portland, we have Carmelo and Nurkic. In Oklahoma, I don't think we have anybody. And who is left? Minnesota, Juancho, and Malik Beasley. Like
Vanderbilt.
I think NBA is using the Nuggets as a farm for young players. Like
I believe the Thunder have 2 future Denver first-round picks now.
One
from the Jeremy Grant trade and one from that got rerouted to them with this last draft.
Yeah,
I think the Oklahoma has 2 future round picks from my hometown basketball team. From Slovak, bro.
Yeah, that's crazy. Man, I think we lost our script.
Yeah, throw the script. Okay, Harrison, did you have a chance to talk to Corey Brewer ever before?
No, I did not. I was a huge Corey Brewer fan. Growing up. I still am. Do you think, like, I see Will Barton as total Corey Brewer replacement, and he is not accepting his 6th-man role. He would thrive in it. I want him to go one-on-one with Corey Brewer on Zoom call just to, like, talk to him to find his mission in this league.
Oh, man. Oh, my God.
Corey Brewer or Will Barton is a much better player than Corey Brewer. Come on, Mislav. Come on, man.
Who has a better smile? Who has a better smile?
Although didn't Corey Brewer score a 50?
Yes,
somehow he did.
I I love the list of total random players who scored 50 points, and Brewer is on the top of that list.
One thing I want to ask everybody, actually, and I'll start with Harrison. What do you think, big picture about this season? Will it be less fun because it will be stressful because we have great expectations of the team right now? Or maybe it will be even more fun because we have so many offensive weapons and, who cares? We might lose some games, but we still score 140, so who cares? We are still amused. What do you think?
I think it's going to be more fun. The expectations will be there, but just the talent and also just the new blood on the roster. Like the Nuggets had run it back over the last couple of years pretty much exclusively, and yeah, that's great, but I also just feel like it got a little stale for us covering the team. And also for like the locker room, I just think there was some staleness there. And I just think the new guys have kind of just injected some life and some new energy and some new excitement into Ball Arena. I'm talking like into the Nuggets locker room. Like there's just more enthusiasm. And I think a case in point is how Nikola looks right now. I mean, he looks amped up and ready to go, not like he got asked to come back early from a shortened off season. He looks like super engaged, high energy. And I think everybody's kind of feeding off of the new players and the new life that the Nuggets brought in this offseason.
Yeah, I feel like too. I honestly feel like Nikola is a dark horse MVP candidate. How animated he got in this offseason. He skipped that November, so he's like all high gear December, and then we can, maybe that'll happen. And so like, what would you expect? Like the thing is always with that rocky start, and as I mentioned, like so. I would say like you're addressing now the Nuggets Nation of like if it happens again, why shouldn't the Sacramento Kings game, Buddy Hield and De'Aaron Fox just go off like 40-point games, whatever, we lose, and then the Christmas game we like barely lose to the Clippers. So why shouldn't we panic at that point, or should we? I mean, I don't know. Maybe we should. It's up, it's up to you. But like when you're addressing the nation of the Nuggets fans, like give them that like reassurance.
Yeah, the only thing that could happen for the Nuggets not to make the playoffs is an injury to Nikola. Like that's the only thing that would prevent this team from making the playoffs. With Nikola, they just have such a high floor where you can, and this team is so deep with so much talent, you can just really, I think, surround him with pretty much like 4 other guys, as long as it's not 4 of the rookies. And this team's going to be really good, I think. Like that's how good he is. That's how good the talent is. And that's how deep they are. So, I wouldn't panic if that happened. I think they're going to be really good, especially in the regular season.
What way I imagine that Nikola should be an MVP candidate. If you look at the season that just ended, like what, 3 days ago? When was it? So
10 years ago.
Who were the better players in playoffs this season than Nikola? Realistically, I mean, if you look at the final 4 teams, the final 2 teams, whatever, if you look at all of that, okay, LeBron, sure, no questions asked. AD, that's a big question mark. Maybe. Big question mark. I mean, he was really good. Yeah, I would probably be really good next to LeBron, to be honest. But let's say AD was better as well. I don't know, maybe. Who else? Is there a third guy that was really better than Nikola in these playoffs?
I mean, Doncic was great, but I don't know if it's a small sample size of it's not 19 games.
Too small.
It's 6.
Too
so
small.
Luke Dort.
First round exit. That's the problem. We need a team that made a big push to the playoffs.
Jimmy.
Yeah,
really?
Jimmy. Yeah,
it was good. But Jimmy was kind of like Jamal in the regular season, so he makes like 30 points in one game and then 12 in another. So
his
impact is a bit different than the other.
Yeah, he was the first one among the others, among the equals, as they say.
That's right.
Yeah. The thing is, like, I don't know, Harrison, like I don't want to cut you off, but it's like seems like the MVPs. The Jimmy was clearly in the top 5. Jokic was clearly in the top 5 for MVP. Like I wouldn't put Kawhi and Paul, like they were putting those two guys ahead of Jokic even last year, which is to me absurd, just based on what they were bringing to the teams. And if you see like how much load management is done and how many games you miss, like, and your team still is fine. Like that was the year with Toronto. Like Kawhi missed so many games and Toronto was like fine without him. Like how then you can't put that as an MVP. Like with Giannis, if they lose all, if he gets hurt and they lose like half of their games, then it's like, yeah, of course he's the MVP. That's why I feel like it's a weird award anyway. And then you put in these like weird media things, and because clearly it should be Jokic, Doncic, and LeBron is like the top three. Because without them, the teams are not nothing, but most likely a fringe playoff team, or even that or even like a 10th seed.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a weird award. It's definitely a very weird award. And yeah, it doesn't always capture who the best player was or who the most valuable player was, or however you want to define it. I think for Jokic to win it, Nuggets probably have to be the number 1 seed in the West.
Yeah.
They just do. Yeah. And I think it's on the table. It's on the table. I don't know if it's likely. Because the Lakers are really good, even if they kind of take their foot off the gas a little in the regular season. But it's definitely on the table for Denver to get the number 1 seed. So if that happens, I think Jokic will definitely be in the running. Definitely.
It's really hard to think that Giannis could be third consecutive MVP.
No way. Yeah.
Since Larry Bird. So
and with what happened in the playoffs with Giannis, no way he's winning it this year.
Yeah. He almost lost the second one because of it. Before we move to our last segment, I would like to add something about the fun part that Miroslav asked. I was listening to Matt Moore on the podcast a few days ago, and he said people are excited to have a fun team, but like we are not supposed to be the fun team. We were there for the few last years, like the league pass favorite, and he said we need to switch from that. But I understand, but I would disagree, because I think like last night's game, we were totally fun and we won. And like I would like to be the team that wins their own way. Like let's just have fun and kill them with kindness. Like so let's just be fun. And it's weird kind of toughness when you're fun and nobody can harm you. So that's my take. Let's be fun and win.
And that's Jokic. That's literally the Jokic when you described. Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, the Warriors were really fun and really good. So why not that again? Spurs were really fun. I think about the fourth championship Spurs. That team was really fun to me, but maybe I'm a bit awkward fan. So maybe my voice is not the one to decide what's fun or not.
Yeah.
But now let's get really weird. And for weird, we have our superstar Mislav. He came up with a really special segment called Coronavirus Squads.
You definitely, Harrison, this is something you have not done, so you didn't do on DNVR, so you're gonna have fun with this one.
You know how many companies are switching their employees by teams in order to avoid getting everybody locked in the self-isolation if somebody gets a positive test. So let's switch the Nuggets roster of 17 players into 2 teams. Don't mind, it's team A and team B. It's not like this is the best team, this is the second team. They need to try to be at least equal.
Okay.
They need to be equally good in order to have, let's say, a chance to get like 500 records in the regular season. So we all 5 of us together, let's make 2 teams. In the first team, we will have Jokic, and he will have 8 players, because Jokic doesn't need to have the full roster of 9 players to make good scores. And in the second team, will be headlined by Jamal Murray, and he will have a 9 team. So let's start. Who would you add to the? Okay, first, who has the first pick? Jokic, huh? Because he has one.
We're not competing here. We need to make a consensus here and make the best what we can do. So this is not a competition. Let's just
so it's like the teams that
team.
If one gets like caught with Corona, like all 8 players, or like one person from that squad, and so everyone has to quarantine, so the other team can come in and still maintain like the wins, and they're not like tanking the whole season. So That's like so we're not going to do like, which it would be like the best 2 fits around these players, not by, just by. So I don't know, like I would like add a joker of like Vlatko needs to be with Jokic, like no question.
You stole my pick. From the gate, you stole my.
But it's corner 3 against Portland. How hard Jokic hugged him after that 3. I love that. It was wonderful.
I was going to say Jokic probably only needs 7 guys on his team.
Yeah,
there it is.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So let's start because
everyone's on board with this. Everyone's on board.
I think like if there is no Jokic, Chanchar is getting waived tomorrow. Like
I don't think you're wrong. I don't think you're wrong.
I did like him in the first game of the preseason. Like he looks like he's not aware of his newly found strength. Like he in the defense, he's like smothering people, like pushing them down, and the 3-point at the last second. Oh my god! I love his energy. Like,
yeah, he looks like a high schooler who just like hit puberty and like grew into his body and doesn't know how to like control himself.
Yeah.
So we agree on Chanchar in team A.
Okay. Yeah, we'll get to Chanchar. Come on, let's start with team B. Let's start with Murray. Who do we want next to Murray, like a first option? I would suggest a pick and roll partner for Murray. Do you agree? Who would you like to see? Let's debate.
So over MPJ?
Yeah, why? Yeah.
I mean, we're not. It's not an order. Like we just. It's
no order. It's just.
So it can be like MPJ and Hartenstein, right? Either it could be like a 3-0. Like instead of Jokic, just put a pick and roll dude.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
Yeah, let's try that.
I'm fine with MPJ. I'm fine with MPJ.
And Hartenstein.
Oh, 2 picks in a row. Okay.
Hartenstein.
Hartenstein.
Okay, so then we need to give Campazzo to Jokic, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, I was gonna say
we all agree.
Definitely
Okay.
Facu.
That's gonna be
let's just say Facu. Yeah, that's better.
Facu.
Here we have a pitch from the audience. So they said Jamal Green with Jokic too, or Millsap. What do we think?
Well, one of those 2 should be. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
We go green.
Green?
Yeah, let's listen to the audience. What do you think, Harrison?
Let's do green.
To the audience.
Let's do green. Okay, let's go back to Murray then. Who else do we need?
I guess Millsap's over there then, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's say because Hartenstein is a little green still, and so we can assume that Millsap.
Yeah, that's a good fit.
That.
Now here we have a 4, a 5, and a point guard. So let's do some wins now. Barton, yeah.
I love the take from Peja. This is perfect for Barton. He's gonna be in starting 5 for sure.
Finally back to the starting 5. Okay.
Barton and Jokic are a good pick and roll duo.
We have your back, Barton.
So do we give Gary Harris to Jokic as well, or not?
Yeah, they are buddies from 4 years ago. Like I want to see.
I think that there might be too many starters with Jokic, right? Maybe do PJ Dozier with Jokic, Harris with Murray.
So but Murray has MPJ and Millsap.
Yeah,
that's 3 starters.
But no defense on the guard. Like Barton's a good defender on the guard side, and so we need
right. Yeah. Let's give some defense to Jamal. Okay, so let's go with Gary.
Oh, we muted Harrison. What do you think, Harrison? You're the guest here.
Oh, you're still here.
No, this is good. I think this is perfect.
Okay, let's continue then. Let's find a 5th guy. So we said PJ Dozier, yeah?
So yeah, this is probably Dozier, yeah.
Okay, now we have our starting 5s. Let's go back to Team Murray. Who else we got?
That's the chopper. Yeah, Monte, you could use another ball handler probably.
Yeah.
So do we give Monte to Jokic or to Murray?
There's no ball handler.
I'd say Murray because you've got Dozier You've got
And
Barton.
Facu.
Yeah, you're right.
And
You're right.
Facu.
Okay.
And
Okay.
Barton.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, basically the only one that doesn't the Green is the only one who can't like pass the ball over the court. He has 4 point guards. So Monte goes to Murray.
Okay. Let me just.
Technical difficulties.
No, it's okay.
This is our doc for the Star Wars Nuggets
Yeah,
draft.
the Star Wars. Okay, so Monte here. Who do we give to Jokic?
Chanchar.
Oh yeah, that's right. We haven't put him in yet.
It's not too early for Chanchar?
I mean, it's just a list of players.
Yeah, let's just give it to him. Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Vlatko.
Vlatko, yeah, our guy.
I feel like that B team has a lot of chuckers, so we should just add Marcus Howard, all the chuckers on that side, like all the 3-point shots, all the wild.
That 3 last night for Marcus Howard.
Yeah,
was
but
so good,
you know, then the
We need to spread the floor
would
for
be too
teammate.
small.
Yeah, let's give Marcus Howard to team A. They need to spread the floor.
I agree.
Yeah, they need another shooter in Team A for sure.
Yeah. Marcus Howard, okay.
And then you could probably where are we putting Bull here, guys? Where are we putting Bull?
Oh, B, right? They need a tall guy, another tall guy.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think? I mean,
let's
does he fit better with Murray as a ball handler and MPJ as a stretch, or maybe with Jokic?
I just want him on MPJ's team, so I'm good with that.
Oh yeah,
that's right. That's good. That's good.
Are we going to
for
put Zeke in the A team or B team? What do you think?
Ooh.
Oh.
Because we have only one spot for Jokic, so who's the best? So we have Whittington, Zeke left, RJ Hampton.
Is that
I
it?
think that's it. That's 3, yeah.
Yeah,
So
we
So
only
does
have one
Team A
more
need
spot.
another big man? They've really
Yeah.
only got Jokic and JaMychal Green, so they probably need another big.
Zeke.
Yeah,
Zeke's
let's
there.
give Zeke here.
Yeah,
okay.
Millsap, Hardenstein, and Ball is over there. Yeah. So I guess RJ
Mislav, I have a job for you because you're well known about finding guys across the globe to get some data for us. Please check if in Nigerian is correct to call him Zeke or Zeki. So just go to Nigeria and check. I need to know that.
He has
Okay,
such a
I
good
have
record.
no idea.
I will watch one YouTube video and then ask Adam to invite me again in the show. So I can spread my
Yeah, man, you might be banned for life after that. Not up to me, but that's what I'm hearing.
Okay, so now we have Whittington.
True. Yeah, Whittington and
IQ
and RJ.
That's crazy.
So let's just take a view from far away. Is this good? Should we do it straight, maybe?
IQ team versus the athletic team. I love it. Maybe we switch Millsap for Green, and that would be it.
Yeah, but I like it. I mean, I think it's real balance because Murray, I think, can handle a lot of wild people around him. Like, because they can all imagine Harrison just that team on the right going crazy and just shooting every shot.
Okay, let's start with Team A. Harrison, if they have a 10 game stretch, how many games do these guys win?
These guys go, I will say 7-3. Because you got to think about this. Being on a team with Jokic, you're automatically like 20% better of a player than you would normally be on a team without Jokic.
True.
Yeah, that's true. Especially if it's the East, then go 10-0, 9-0.
Okay.
Portland 10.
Okay, I like this. So let's go to Team B. What is the 10 game record for the Team B? Let's dig in.
10-0 or 1-9.
Yeah, I was gonna say 8-2 or 9-1.
This is the.
So what are we here? Like Nuggets fans? What are we doing here?
Yeah, I'm
just waiting for somebody to call us out and say you guys are so biased.
I don't know. After last night's game, I think everybody on this roster is good. So if we were doing this after the first preseason game, I might think a little different. But everybody's good on this team.
Yeah,
6-4 at least.
Okay. I guess we did a pretty good job with this. Thank you, Mislav, for the great idea, even though it sounds really terribly when you hear the name of it. Okay, any parting thoughts? Harrison, can you plug something for us? What can we expect in next 7 days from you guys in DNVR?
Yeah, well, we've been rolling out the player previews, obviously, and on YouTube, and then part 2 behind the paywall. We still have some more of those. So Jokic, Murray, Bull, those are all coming up. Those are some of our best ones too. So those are a lot of fun.
Yeah, everyone should check them out. They're really good and good production and good content, rich contents. I should say, because I hate the content word. But yeah,
what you gonna do?
What do you have against the content word?
It's just so played out as everything is a content. Like movies are not films anymore, or shows are it's all content. And so I just hate it. So
that seems like a bread and boat type take. I can see
my guy. So yeah.
Okay.
So, thank you very much. We will close out the show in Serbian. I hope you don't mind. Thank you very much for your time and promise us you will meet us somewhere mid-season. We ask everybody this. We just need to give these kind of shows some kind of a rolling repetitiveness to it, just to see where were we and when we are going in a couple of months. Thank you, Harrison.
Yeah,
thank you very
whenever
much.
You guys want me to come on, I will come on this show. Whenever,
thank you.
Anytime, any day, I'm here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Što ste bili sa nama, ovoga puta smo se potrudili da vas ne davimo 2,5 sata kao što znamo, a i malo smo morali da ispoštujemo gosta koji nema vremena koliko mi imamo, pošto ispred nas je noć i šta nas briga kad ćemo da legnemo spavamo, on čovjek ipak treba da nešto još radi danas u toku dana. Vidimo se ponovo sledeće nedelje, još uvijek nismo napravili definitivan raspored kako će to izgledati, ali očekujte 1 ili 2 emisije sledeće nedelje. Sezona počinje, prva utakmica Denvera je za 6 dana protiv Sakramenta, odmah 2 dana kasnije posle toga na božićno veče će igrati protiv Clippersa derbi, tako da budite sa nama i očekujte nove zanimljive emisije sa naše strane. Pozdrav.
Čao.
Pozdrav svima ljudi.
Nugget Srbija, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, zvonce, stisnite, like, share, komentar, MySpace, na blogu, u novinama smo sutra, gledajte naš